Soos genoem gesels ek met Chantel Arendse, sy is die hoof van plant biotegnologie van CropLife Suid-Afrika. Chantel, baie welkom by Grootplaas.
Thank you, Mia, and thank you for having me.
It's really lovely having you here. I'm going to ask the questions in Afrikaans, and you're more than welcome to answer in English. Julle het nou 'n lekker seminar gehad. Vertel vir my eers, kom ons begin by waaroor het die seminar gegaan en wat is die belangrikheid daarvan?
Okay, so we had a seminar yesterday speaking about, how biotechnology is responding to the climate crisis. And this event was a collaboration between CropLife South Africa as well as the US Department of Agriculture, the local embassy representation. And we put on this event, because climate issues are becoming an eventuality, or reality.
Absolutely.
All areas of the world are experiencing it in different ways and formats. And of course, this puts our food security under threat.
Absolutely.
And so, for this reason, it was important that these issues be discussed. And also, very important that South African farmers are key adopters of biotechnology, similar to farmers in the US. And so there was a lot of synergies, to say, let's bring our stakeholders together and create a platform where we can speak about these issues and explore, what impact this is having on our food security in terms of agriculture, and also what are the potential, I would say, innovations out there.
Absolutely.
That are bringing new innovations to actually address climate-resilient crops and bring us climate-resilient crops, as well as address issues of environmental stewardship.
If you can give us a definition of biotechnology, what exactly is that, if somebody might not know?
Okay, so biotechnology, I think in its simplest terms, because, we are talking science here.
Yes.
Yeah, in its simplest terms would mean just, genetically improving a plant by changing its genetic makeup. And so we are able to take, find useful traits and include and incorporate those useful traits into plant, giving them that added advantage.
What is your field of speciality?
Okay, so I am a trained microbiologist. That's my background. And I've also completed a a master's in plant biotechnology as well.
That's fantastic. As ons kyk na klimaatsverandering, hoe sal die klimaat die landbou en ons voedselsekuriteit beïnvloed, if we look at the long game?
Okay, so in the long game, we know, actually we don't even need to look at the long game, we can just look at what's happening
now.
Now, we have, extreme weather events happening all across the globe. In Europe, there's increasing temperatures, there's droughts. In the US, there's fires, and in some parts of the world, there's even flooding.
Yes.
And all of these extreme weather events, they impact agriculture. And when they impact agriculture, they impact or make it harder for farmers to produce our food.
Yes.
And so that is the impact of climate change on our agricultural production system and obviously our food security as well.
Kan jy vir my 'n paar voorbeelde gee van biotegnologie? So watse tipe goed is dit en is daar in die mark op die oomblik?
Okay, so we are well aware that our farmers have adopted biotechnology, specifically insect-resistant traits as well as herbicide-tolerant traits. And for over 20 years, our farmers have been using this technology, and it's made weed control as well as insect control easier.
Absolutely.
But it's also promoted, reduced tillage practices and reduced use of pesticides. And that is only good for the environment. So that's the examples that we have in South Africa. But of course, it doesn't end there. Science is evolving.
Absolutely.
And we always need to stay one step of the game. And the same applies when it comes to climate change. And so there are numerous examples where researchers around the globe are actually innovating and proving, new traits or working on new traits that would bring us, some of these adaptive solutions to address climate change. And some of these examples would include, the development of rice cultivars that are more efficient at nitrogen use. And you're probably wondering, but why is this important? Well, nitrogen is important for plant growth.
Absolutely.
And because of that, there is use of nitrogen fertilizers. And of course, we know that is always not good for the the environment because of the emissions associated with it. So by working on traits such as nitrogen use efficiency, plants are better able to communicate with bacteria in the soil and encourage those bacteria to fix nitrogen in the soil and reduce the use of fertilizers. So that's just one example. I can maybe give you another one.
Absolutely.
Okay. So another one would be, tinkering with photosynthesis.
Yeah.
We know that, that's what plants do. They use the sunlight to generate food and energy for themselves to grow. And so by just, altering and optimizing the way that they do photosynthesis, we are then able to instill traits in plants that are able to capture even more carbon from the atmosphere.
Wow.
So we have an emissions problem, and yes, we understand that agriculture is also partly to blame for putting those emissions out there. But in this way, we are able to instill those traits in plants so that they can capture more of that carbon directly from the atmosphere and also store it for longer periods in the soil.
Jy het nou genoem van gelukkig Suid-Afrikaanse boere, they adopted biotechnology. So dit beteken dis deel van hulle daaglikse lewe. Dink jy daar's spasie vir dit om groter te word? Dink jy dit gaan groter word? Dink jy dit kan groter word in Suid-Afrika?
Yeah, I think, having had this 20 plus years of experience farming with the technology, I would say that our South African farmers, they are amenable to technology. And I think it's become part of the way they farm. And I think there's definitely opportunity for it to grow. But of course, it needs to be traits that will help them to be more efficient and more productive. And if we think just of South Africa, I mean, we're a semi-arid country. Yeah. And so water is a big issue for our farmers.
Yes, it is true.
We are not blessed with an abundance of water. And so, when there are traits that could truly help farmers become more efficient, then definitely I think that they would be open to using these technologies on farm. So drought tolerance, that would definitely help our farmers. And also, crops that are more, I would say, water efficient.
Yes.
More efficient at using water. And that would definitely help our farmers, not just now, but also, as we face climate change and that water shortages become more of a challenge.
Soos ek vir jou luister, dit kom die hele tyd by my op, daai wat ek nou genoem het, veerkragtigheid, innoverend. So, dink jy dis belangrik, veral in 'n landbousektor, om op 'n punt te kom waar ons moet nou die manier verander hoe ons dink om by te bly met die verandering wat om ons gebeur. Sien jy dit gebeur en dink jy dis belangrik?
I think it's absolutely important. I think that, even though we have these innovations that are happening and these tools that are becoming available, those solutions on their own are not going to provide an answer. They cannot. It will require a whole, system change in terms of how we think, how we feel and attach value to the environment, especially. We cannot continue, I think, with our normal day-to-day way of doing things to the detriment of the environment. So there's definitely, technology has a part to play, but technology on its own will not help us if we don't all, take up that responsibility and say we need an entire system and a change in our thinking. Yeah.
As ons kyk nou na die groot seminar wat nou gehou is, wat was van die toppunte wat jy dink regtig huis toe getref het? Ek meen die toppunte wat bespreek is, wat uiters belangrik is vir Suid-Afrikaanse landbou op die oomblik.
Okay. I think what was important, the key, I think, messages coming out of the conference was that, innovation is important.
Absolutely.
It's not something we can ignore. We need it.
Yes.
And that we cannot continue on the same path that we've been going on. We need change. And so it's not a luxury anymore. We need to understand that we need to embrace innovation. But of course, innovation in terms of developing climate resilient crops that would help the South African farmer, it's not an easy, achievement.
Imagine,
Going from what happens in a research lab to delivering a product that goes into the hands of the farmer.
Yeah.
And, for that to successfully happen, it's going to take partnership. And it's going to take partnership between government, it's going to take partnership between investment in research, and it's going to take partnership in terms of the support that farmers need with having that technology. And just, innovation also, it requires that regulations that govern these innovations, that they are enabling, and they foster it, because sometimes regulations can be very restrictive, And so it's going to take a whole, I think, coordination and engagement and partnership amongst all the actors in the chain to try and make sure that this pipeline of innovation that's happening actually successfully reaches the hands of the farmer.
Dink jy Suid-Afrika is gereed vir dit?
We've still got a long ways to go. I think we have a bio-innovation strategy coming out of the Department of Science and Innovation, and that was one of the speakers at yesterday's panel. And so I think the intention is there, but maybe there needs to be more. It's not just about one department, one research. We all need to hold hands.
Come together.
And we all need to come together. And there needs to be a common vision to say, this is what South Africa needs, and this is what our agricultural sector needs, and this is how we're going to get there. So there's still lots of work to be done.
There always is.
Yes.
Ek sit en dink nou aan 'n boer wat hoor biotegnologie. Nee, dit is heeltemal te ingewikkeld vir my. Wat sal jou antwoord wees vir so iemand wat dalk dink, nee, ons sal dit nooit kan doen nie, dis heeltemal te ingewikkeld?
I would say it's not that difficult, to try and convince somebody in South Africa. And we're not talking just about commercial farmers. We're talking right down to smallholder farmers. And when it comes to convincing them, it's about seeing is believing. And so, there have been in the past many opportunities, and there still are many opportunities, to have demonstration trials and farmers' days to show them, this is what the technology can do for you, and this is how it works. But I think, like I said, South African farmers are open to technology. And even at yesterday's session, we had a commercial farmer who spoke about, what the difference the technology has made on his farm.
Yeah.
And and how he is able to, employ good practices, agricultural practices that not only benefits him in terms of his yields and making sure he's got good soil health, but also just benefiting the environment. And so, there's still lots of opportunities, and I think, our smallholder farmers, they need a lot of support.
Absolutely.
And we continue to try from our side as CropLife also give them that support. But again, it's going to take all of us. There's a lot of smallholders out there, and I think many of them have already transitioned to the technology and reaping the benefits. And so, we can use those as testimonials to, convince others that, listen, the technology can deliver benefits for you as well.
Ons het 'n paar sekondes oor. Ek's bly jy het dit gesê. Biotegnologie is nie net vir die groot boer nie. Dit is vir die klein boer ook, is vir almal.
Yes.
En is beskikbaar.
It is available. And of course, yes, the big argument here is, but maybe it's not affordable for all smallholder farmers. But there are offsets, or benefits that offset that cost. Is yes, the initial, input into buying that biotech seed might be a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, you save because your management, of your fields is much easier. And so you are spending less on things like your pesticides, So there are those, important, I think, discussions that need to happen and considerations. But for those farmers or smallholders that have embraced their technology, there are definitely success stories out there.
Chantel, dankie dat jy jou kennis met ons gedeel het. Ons waardeer dit en hou die goeie werk en hou dit op.